Sovran here from Sovran.com. In today's video, I want to show you a little hip stabilization routine, and it'd be specifically beneficial to anyone that may have weak hip stabilizer muscles or may suffer from lower back pain, and they may be involved in some sort of sport, whether that's distance running, or any sort of running sport. So it's a great little functional routine for building up those hip stabilizers. So all you need for this routine is a stability ball or Swiss ball, and what you're going to do is you're going to take that stability ball and place it against the wall here. You're going to place it about knee height, and you're going to apply just a little bit of pressure into the wall. So from this position, what we want to make sure is that our feet are in line with each other. So we want to make sure that we have our feet in line. We don't want one foot out in front of the other, because if one foot is slightly out in front of the other, it's going to create different torques within our body, and that's not something we are looking for or we want. So make sure our feet are in good alignment here. We want to make sure we're in a good neutral and square position. So our shoulders, our feet are in line. So what we're going to do from this position now is we're going to lift our right leg off the ground, or our right foot off the ground. So now we can use the wall as an assistance just to kind of get us into that position. And so now we're going to hold this position right here. So already I feel my hip stabilizer is working and turned on just to kind of maintain this good neutral position. So my stabilizers are working. My hip stabilizers are feeling my glute medius, glute minimus. Just working hard to kind of maintain this good position. So a couple key things, guys, is you don't want to be leaning to the left. You don't want to be leaning to the right at all, because what ends up happening is we start leaning to one side. It throws basically our spinal positioning off, and we begin to compensate these other muscles. And that's not something we're looking for, because we're looking for those hip stabilizers to be working and maximally stabilizing us. So one way to kind of make this a little bit more challenging is we get back into that position, and now we apply pressure into the ball. So now we're pushing here with our right knee into the ball, and so the more force we apply, the more these muscles on our side of our hip are going to work to force us to kind of help us stabilize. So that's one way to make this a little bit more challenging. And so another key thing, guys, is we want to make sure we have a neutral pelvis. So our pelvis is in good alignment. We don't want to be dropping at all, because what ends up happening is if we drop, our pelvis comes out of alignment. And that's not something we want, because we start using other muscles, we start compensating. So one way we can make this exercise also a little bit more challenging is we can incorporate a hip hinge. So getting back into that same position, what we're going to do now, so a slight brace in the abdominal wall, we're just going to shoot our hips back, then squeezing our glutes at the top. So squeezing that glute max, glute medius, glute minimus, and then we repeat. All while we're maintaining a good neutral position of our spine. So our neck, spine, everything's in good alignment. Now we want to make sure this ball isn't moving. So for instance, if we're shooting back our hips, now as you can see, our pelvis is out of alignment. That's something we want to avoid. So we want to keep good neutral position, pelvis in alignment, shooting the hips back, squeezing the glutes at the top. So that's one way you can kind of make it a little bit more advanced and incorporate a hip hinge into the exercise. And lastly, one last way we can make this a little more difficult is if you have a coach or a trainer present. So what the coach or the trainer can do is, while you're stabilizing here, they can try to hit the ball or try to move it. And you have to prevent the ball from moving, so they can stop in different directions. And what that's going to do, it's going to force you to stabilize a lot more, especially in the hip and through the abdominal wall and core. Okay guys, so that's just kind of a little hip stabilization routine that you can kind of add into your workout routine. It's a little functional way of building up those hip stabilizers. And it's also a way you can incorporate a hip hinge as well. So just to go over a couple key things, make sure you're maintaining a good neutral spine when you're hinging. You want to make sure you're staying as neutral as possible, making sure that pelvis is neutral, and also just making sure you have a slight brace to the abdominal wall. And you want to make sure your hip stabilizers here they're working to kind of stabilize it. Okay guys, so there's a little hip stabilization routine. If you guys enjoyed this video and found it useful or helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And also, if you want to see more functional routines similar to this, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Okay guys, I wish you guys all the best, and take care.